The 12th Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of the season started with the number 2 and the number 4, Peter de Vos and Max Kuhne, not qualifying for the Grand Prix and leaving the door open for the championship leader for Christian Aalman to move away from the rest of the field. Number 3 on the championship, well, that is Ben Meer, Aalman's closest rival. Meer qualified for the Grand Prix on a young horse and didn't have high ambitions for this Grand Prix in the Netherlands. Let's have a look at what stood out and how it played out in a new edition of the Lgct Grand Prix analysis. Welcome. Patience is a virtue. No truer word was spoken during the course walk came out of the mouth of Marlon Zanotelli when discussing a very crucial line in this 12th Grand Prix of the season. Patience is a virtue. What did he mean? Well, first, let's have a look at how 2 championship contenders rode one of the crucial lines in the Grand Prix. Here is Christian Aalman, the championship leader. It was very early on course that this technical line came up. From fence 3, the triple bar on an angle to the upright, and then actually a 9 strides into the combination. Oxer, 2 strides, Oxer, 1 stride vertical, and again 9 strides to the Longines Global Champions Tour Oxer, where Aalman was faulted. Here's the number 3, Ben Meer on a young horse on EC, and this is where it goes wrong. He gets a light fault on the vertical, the Liverpool, looks down at the Liverpool, and then, as this is a young horse, he overjumps himself a little bit into the combination, and it's something that happens to quite many. That back rail of the Oxer went for Ben Meer and for EC. He, with an extra stride actually, to the Longines Global Champions Tour Oxer. So now you already have an idea about the fences. Let's have a look at what it looked like from the air. Here's a drone angle that kind of shows you how these fences were positioned by the big grandstand, well-filled grandstand, lots of spectators in Valkenswaard at the Tops International Arena. And that is basically the line where it sat on the course. Now it's time for us to have a look on the animation. What about that line? How was it drawn? How was it positioned? And how did Uliano Vezzani position his fences? What made this then so difficult and so smart? Well, here is the vertical, this is the triple bar, the triple combination and the Oxer. It was very tempting to ride from the triple bar and make that turn too fast, too tight, and get there maybe on 7 strides. But it was better to come in on an outside 8, because then you got a little bit of a tighter approach, now, or a straighter approach. Now, why was that straight approach so crucial? That had everything to do with the positioning of this fence. If you draw a straight line from the vertical and a straight line from the triple combination, this is where both axes meet. This is more or less the apex or the outside of the turn into the triple combination. But if you came in slightly on the angle, of course that whole line changes. So you had to get straight here, and even still, it was super tempting, even if you got there straight, super tempting to come on the inside line to that triple combination and get too deep. Because if you walked it heart to heart from axis to axis, it was 9 strides, 9 normal strides. If you jumped it slightly on the angle, or you came straight, but you drifted to the inside, you didn't get straight, and you got there on a very, very deep 9. But it was crucial to stay on the outside 9 strides. Let's have a look at a few riders and the problems that occurred from or not jumping that purple vertical straight, or from getting on the inside of the line, and what happens when you get so deep to that triple combination. Here is a group of riders that struggled. This, for example, is Harry Charles. Charles has a big striding horse, tries to stay on the outside, gets a fraction deep, and then it's mainly the second Oxer that gets very wide. If you get deep to the first Oxer, you get a normal but small jump, and then 11 meters stand inside that Oxer to Oxer part, and then the back rail at meter 55 wide gets away from you. It's exactly the same situation for Sameh El Dahan. He has to hold, sees in his last 3 strides that he gets a little bit deep, has to keep holding to find room, but he can't really push over the Oxers as he had to wait right up until the base of the A part in the triple combination. That was Sameh El Dahan with WKD Aimez-moi. This is Jane Richard. For her, it's an even more tricky and sticky situation. Clipper du Haut-du-Roi drags her really deep, and if that was a loose fence, that was already difficult. In such a combination, it gets really, really hairy and sketchy. She just makes it over the back rail. You see here on the replay how deep she gets to that first oxer, and then there is no way for Clipper du Haut-du-Roi to jump out of that second oxer, and he finds himself way too long, even though it is only one stride, way too long to the vertical, and he slides to a stop. That is Jane Richard with Clipper du Haut-du-Roi and Harry Charles and Sameh Eldaham. Too deep to the first oxer and then not getting over that second oxer in the heart of the combination because of those long two strides and twice a very big oxer. As an interesting other situation, she also has the back rail down, but the explanation is different. Let's have a look at the young Nina Malve. On Cartier SR, look at the big jump over the vertical already. She drifts way to the outside, gives him nice room, and then something special happens. Cartier has such a big stride that he actually, and it's the only horse that has done it, he actually runs deep to the second oxer, and he can't get over the back rail, not because he's too long and he lacks power. No, he gets too deep to the second oxer. It's the only horse where that happens. It's still a young horse. He hasn't jumped many 5-star Grand Prix. So for Cartier and Nina Malve, it is not a big issue. But it was really interesting to see how Nina Malve rode technically a great 9 strides to the outside, got a good jump over the oxer, but then with his big 2 strides, he got close to the second oxer, got up and away from the back rail, but